Linda Gray, the woman with the saddest eyes on American television, once held the world in silence through her role as Sue Ellen in Dallas, turning a supporting character into a global icon and ushering in a new era of television. But was her life truly as glamorous as it appeared on screen? Behind the spotlight lay a loveless marriage, bitter misunderstandings, losses no one ever knew about, and countless moments when she had to endure in silence under the weight of public scrutiny. Some roles are remembered forever because they are brilliant, but also because they are too real, leaving the actor a victim of their own character. So what is the truth behind those eyes that once haunted the world? After the fame, after the irreplaceable roles, where did Linda Gray quietly disappear to? Is her life today at peace? Or are there still wounds that have never healed? If you have ever followed Linda Gray's journey, then in this video, you will uncover hidden corners never told before, where a woman learned to rise again from the very role that nearly consumed her life. Stay with us until the end to see a very different Linda Gray. Not just a star, but a real human being. Wounded, resilient, and profoundly worth telling. Linda Gray was born on September 12, 1940, in Santa Monica, California, into a modest yet loving family. Her father, Leslie Gray, was a watchmaker who passed on to his daughter the patience embedded in every meticulous tick of the clock. Her mother, with traditional values, emphasized responsibility and the stability of a woman's role in the family. Those principles shaped Linda deeply. On one hand, a sense of duty, and on the other, a quiet longing to break free from the boundaries of ordinary life. Her childhood unfolded in Culver City, a small town known as the Heart of Hollywood for housing MGM studios and countless major film companies. She grew up surrounded by the world of cinema, yet always on the outside. From her father's workshop, Linda would quietly listen to the faint echoes of film music drifting through the studio walls, wondering if one day she might step inside. Once, out of sheer curiosity, Linda and her younger sister Betty tried to sneak through the gates of MGM. But the moment they peeked in, a guard shouted and chased them away. Linda later recalled that she felt both terrified and strangely elated because for a fleeting second she had crossed into the boundary of Hollywood before being pushed back out. That seemingly small incident etched itself into her memory, reminding her that dreams never open their doors willingly unless one dares to risk and sacrifice. In the little house in Culver City, Linda was closest to her sister Betty. They confided in each other, sharing their secret dreams. Linda was a shy, quiet child with observant eyes, often sitting for hours, watching her father tinker with the tiny gears of a watch. That silence trained her to convey emotions through her gaze, a signature trait that would later make her portrayal of Sue Ellen haunting to millions. She once shared how, as a young girl, she would stand in front of the mirror, mimicking the expressions of glamorous stars on movie posters, then ask herself, will my life end with being only a wife and mother like my mom? Or is there something greater waiting for me out there? That phase not only sowed in Linda the desire to step away from the safe place, but also revealed to her that Hollywood, seemingly dazzling, was filled with doors firmly closed in her face. Before the world knew Linda Gray as Sue Ellen in Dallas, it was her legs that made her part of one of Hollywood's most iconic posters. In 1967, when The Graduate was released, Audiences saw Dustin Hoffman standing in the background, with a pair of seductive legs in the foreground, believed to be Anne Bancroft's. The shocking truth: those legs belonged not to Bancroft, but to Linda Gray, then an unknown model. The irony was brutal. Linda was paid just $25 for that photo shoot. Meanwhile, the graduate poster was everywhere, on college dorm walls, in movie theaters, and ultimately became a cultural symbol of the 1960s. The whole world displayed that image, but no one knew who the woman behind it was. Years later, Linda laughed bitterly. "That was the most famous role I ever had, and nobody knew it was me." A painful paradox, omnipresent, yet completely invisible. Throughout the 1960s, Linda made her living as a model and commercial actress. Nearly 400 TV commercials turned her into a familiar face for the public, but still, no one remembered her name. With every photo shoot and every fleeting advertisement, she felt the line more clearly. Fame's light was close enough to touch, yet her hands could never quite reach it. Her hunger for recognition pushed her into film, taking small roles too insignificant to make a mark. Then, in 1977, luck and risk knocked on her door. Linda was cast as Linda Merkland in All That Glitters, the first transgender character to appear regularly on American television. At first, she was unsettled, unsure whether to see it as an honor or a dangerous gamble. But instead of shying away, she insisted on meeting a transgender woman to speak with her and understand her truth. Linda approached the role with full empathy, delivering a bold performance far ahead of its time. But the spotlight dimmed quickly. After just 13 weeks, All That Glitters was canceled. Linda recalled feeling shocked, as if I had lost a friend. Walking off the set, past dismantled backdrops and a makeup chair still smelling of half-worn powder, she realized the moment was more than just the end of a show. It was Hollywood's cold reminder: nothing here lasts. She could have collapsed, but she chose differently. Amid that harsh reality, she clung to a simple belief: every failure is an opportunity to learn. And it was that belief that kept her standing, waiting for the greatest opportunity of her life, the one that would come just a few years later, transforming Linda Gray from the invisible woman into an unforgettable television icon. In 1978, Linda Gray stepped into the role that would change her life forever, Sue Ellen Shepard Ewing in Dallas. The series, revolving around the powerful Ewing oil dynasty, was not only successful, it became a global cultural phenomenon. Running for 357 episodes over 13 years, Dallas aired in more than 90 countries and drew an average of over 300 million viewers weekly. The 1980 episode, Who Shot JR, alone attracted more than 83 million viewers in the U.S., cementing Dallas as the most talked-about show of the 1980s. Amid this global storm, Linda went from a relatively unknown actress to a household name across Texas, Europe, and even the Middle East. Ironically, Linda was not the first choice for Sue Ellen. Initially written as little more than J.R. Ewing's decorative wife, the character wasn't meant to carry much weight. But during her audition, Linda stunned the producers by injecting Sue Ellen with a raw, tragic depth. So much so that the scripts were gradually rewritten to expand the role into one of the show's cornerstones. That determination paved the way for one of the most iconic performances in American television. Sue Ellen was both haunting and monumental. On screen, she was the manipulated, betrayed wife who turned to alcohol as an escape. But Linda transformed her into much more. A woman yearning for real love, torn between fragility and fury, both pitiable and unforgettable. Audiences didn't just tune in for the Ewing family's power struggles, they followed the painful yet defiant journey of Sue Ellen. Linda once said, "Becoming Sue Ellen was like opening a part of myself I never knew existed." Yet, behind the stage lights were real shocks. Many times Linda received scripts with dread, fearing Sue Ellen would be written off for dramatic effect. Some weeks she went home in tears, convinced her flourishing career might vanish with a single line of text. "The fear of being erased made me live on a knife's edge, but it also made me fight for the character until the end," she recalled. This success carried a bitter paradox. The more convincingly she acted, the more the public confused her with Sue Ellen. The press endlessly speculated she was an alcoholic like her character. Linda recalled, "I'd leave the studio and immediately someone would ask, 'Do you really drink?' Shoppers even confronted her in supermarkets, accusing her of being a bad role model. For Linda, it was a humiliation to have her private life blurred beyond control with her role. Yet instead of breaking down, she stood firm. "People can think what they want, but I know I'm telling an important story about women trapped in pain and dependency." That conviction turned Sue Ellen into a symbol for millions of women worldwide, many of whom wrote to Linda, saying they saw their own lives reflected in hers. Fame came with recognition. Linda earned 2 Golden Globe nominations, an Emmy nomination, Germany's Bambi Award, Italy's Il Gatto Award, and in 1982 was named Woman of the Year by the Hollywood Radio and Television Society. But perhaps even more significant was breaking a barrier. Linda became one of the very few women entrusted to direct in the 1980s. Initially rejected by the studio as inexperienced, she fought persistently, and with the support of Larry Hagman, J.R. Ewing, she finally secured the director's chair, even helming the final episode of Dallas. It was a quiet but groundbreaking victory for women in Hollywood. When Dallas ended in 1991, Linda refused to let her career be defined by a single role. She re-emerged in Melrose Place and Models, Inc. as Hilary Michaels, a sharp, powerful executive, a complete contrast to Sue Ellen. On stage in 2001, she took on the role of Mrs. Robinson in The Graduate at London's West End. She admitted to shivering as she performed live, embodying the very character whose legs she had once doubled for in the legendary 1967 poster. Linda didn't stop there. She embraced independent films such as Reflections of a Life, 2006, Expecting Mary, and Hidden Moon, choosing roles that required empathy over glamour, proving herself a true artist. And in 2012, she returned in TNT's reboot of Dallas, once again donning Sue Ellen, now older, sharper, yet still carrying the contradictions that had once defined her and cemented her place as an enduring television icon. Beneath the dazzling glow of her career, Linda Gray's personal life was a canvas of contradictions, losses, and painful choices. In 1962, at just 22, she married Ed Thrasher, a brilliant art director who had already built a decorated career in the music industry, designing iconic album covers for major stars and earning wide admiration. Linda, in contrast, was then an unknown model, dabbling in small commercials, with no real foothold in entertainment. That imbalance unconsciously placed her more in the role of Ed Thrasher's wife than Linda Gray herself. Their marriage lasted 21 years, beginning with the appearance of happiness. They built a home in Santa Clarita, where Ed nurtured his cowboy dreams with horses and chickens, a lifestyle he considered ideal. For Linda, however, it became a kind of confinement within too narrow a world. While her husband thrived in the glory of his creative career, she bore the role of wife and mother, slowly losing the space to dream and to be free. She once asked herself, "Is this really my dream? Or is it just a man's dream I am forced to live inside?" Linda later admitted that she felt trapped in her husband's dream. When she expressed her desire to pursue acting, Ed's response was a cold dismissal. "You can be an actress when the kids go to college." Those words not only crushed her hopes, but also made her feel as though her true self had been rejected. While Ed reveled in the life he wanted, Linda wrestled with the aching sense that her dreams weren't valued. "I always wondered, is this all the life I'll ever have? I'm living his dream, but what about mine?" she confessed. The chance to join Dallas in 1978 became a turning point not only for Linda's career but for her personal life as well. In embodying Sue Ellen, the woman trapped in a hollow, deceitful marriage, she suddenly recognized she was living out a similar script in her own world. Fame from Dallas didn't just bring stardom, it forced Linda to confront the emptiness of her marriage. To many onlookers, it seemed as though she wanted to prove that once she shone brightly enough, she no longer had to live in the shadow of a celebrated husband. In 1983, Linda chose divorce. It was a painful but necessary decision to free herself. "Divorce is never easy, but I knew that if I didn't, I would lose myself forever," she admitted. And audiences at the time also wondered, did she leave because love had run dry or because she had finally found herself? Yet the new life was not entirely easy. The years of Dallas's success were also the years Linda faced relentless rumors about off-screen romances. One of the most talked about involved Christopher Atkins, the young actor more than 20 years her junior who played Peter Richards, Sue Ellen's lover on screen from 1983 to 1984. Their passionate dockside kiss instantly became a hot topic, with the press dubbing Linda television's first cougar. Us magazine even ran the headline "Cradle Robber," sparking both fascination and backlash at the idea of a 43-year-old woman daring to pair romantically with a 22-year-old man. Behind the scenes, Linda even turned gossip into mischief. Before one kiss, she secretly smeared her lips with dental-numbing gel, leaving Atkins stunned as the tingling spread mid-embrace. Though Atkins later told the story with amusement, Linda remembered how social scrutiny was no laughing matter. Strangers would confront her directly with lines like, "He's too young for you." Real-world judgments colliding with fiction, making it all heavier to bear. Though these rumors were never confirmed, they placed considerable pressure on Linda. Instead of issuing denials, she chose silence, focusing on work and her private life. "I learned to ignore what people say. In the end, the most important thing is that I know who I am," she declared. The bitter irony was that these real-life rumors mirrored the extended script of Dallas. On screen, Sue Ellen was tormented in her marriage to J.R. Ewing and turned to secret affairs for escape. Off-screen, Linda Gray, the woman behind the role, endured the same kind of public scrutiny when her fictional romance with Christopher Atkins was instantly assumed to be reality. That harsh gaze blurred the line between Linda and Sue Ellen. She was both the actress giving everything to her character and the woman forced to carry its burdens in real life. In one reflection, Linda admitted that it was during that period she learned how to stand firm in the storm of rumors, because otherwise she couldn't have played Sue Ellen for another day. And the strain didn't stop at gossip. It extended to legal challenges surrounding property. Owning high-value estates, like the 2.5-acre ranch in Santa Clarita, the remnant of her ex-husband's cowboy dream, came with endless paperwork over deeds, post-divorce ownership rights, and steep maintenance costs. Even her Los Angeles mansion, a symbol of success, brought unwelcome headaches, from property taxes and boundary disputes to renovation permits. At times, Linda found herself spending hours with lawyers and documents instead of in front of the camera. Success brings wonderful things, but it also comes with responsibilities you never expect, she reflected. In such moments, Linda often turned to the stage or film sets as her refuge, a way to release the tension and keep her artistic passion alive. It wasn't only marital struggles that shaped Linda Gray's life. She also endured the devastating loss of her younger sister. In 1989, her sister Betty died of breast cancer. Linda later shared that this loss was not only a profound shock, but also a reminder of how precious life and family truly are. But the greatest trial of Linda's life came in 2020, when her son, Jeff Thrasher, passed away from leukemia at the age of 56. It was a pain beyond comparison. Jeff was not only the child Linda had always been proud of, but also her companion through life. "When I lost Jeff, I felt as though a part of me was gone forever," she said. Jeff had been a creative, energetic soul, leaving his mark on every project he touched. His passing was a profound loss for his family and for all who loved him. Fortunately, Linda still had her daughter, Kaylee Sloan, who also pursued acting by her side. Kaylee became not only her mother's emotional support, but also the anchor that helped Linda stand firm through unimaginable grief. Shortly after Jeff's passing, Linda posted a tribute on Instagram. A photo of her son riding his bike along the beach, the wide horizon stretching behind him. The image seemed to capture the spirit of freedom and vitality Jeff had embodied, now transformed into a haunting symbol of a life cut short. Her words read, "He was the light of my life, full of creativity, love, and kindness. He will always be loved and remembered." The post drew thousands of condolences, turning Linda's private heartbreak into a collective moment of empathy, where the public grieved alongside her. These days, she spends much of her time with family, especially her 2 grandsons, who bring her comfort and hope. Life brings things we cannot control, but I have always believed that love and valuing family can carry us through everything, she reflected. The years after her marriage became a journey marked by contradictions and loss. Fighting to reclaim her independence, facing the harsh gaze of public opinion, and enduring the private pain of losing both her sister and her son. Yet through it all, Linda never allowed adversity to break her. She found ways to rise, to live fully with her passion, and to hold on to her faith, proving that a star can shine not only on screen, but also in life's darkest shadows. What do you think of Linda Gray's struggle to break free from a loveless marriage and claim the freedom to follow her dreams? Was she selfish in putting her career above family responsibilities? Or was this an act of courage to save herself? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. Linda Gray is not only a gifted actress, but also a symbol of resilience and the will to transcend every limitation. Her contributions to art and society helped shape the image of the modern woman, strong, compassionate, and unyielding in the fight to make a difference. From 1997 to 2007, as a United Nations Goodwill Ambassador, Linda turned her personal pain into a driving force for action. The death of her sister from breast cancer inspired her to dedicate herself to medical research initiatives and women's support programs. On one field visit to a reintegration center, a woman who had survived domestic violence bluntly told her, "I don't believe a movie star like you could ever understand my pain." Linda simply smiled, held the woman's hand, and replied, "Pain spares no one. I've had my own losses, and I am here to listen." The embrace that followed became one of the most profound memories of her humanitarian journey. She also actively supported practical projects like Meals on Wheels, which provides food for the elderly living alone. Linda didn't just show up for publicity photos. Many times she personally delivered meals door to door. Once, an elderly woman opened the door, saw Linda in simple clothes, and burst out laughing. "I thought you were the delivery lady, not the star from Dallas." Linda responded with a warm smile. "Well, today I am." That small story spread through the volunteer community, showing everyone that she wasn't there to be recognized, but to genuinely blend into everyday life. Another elderly woman once held Linda's hand and whispered, "This meal doesn't just feed my body, it warms my heart, because it reminds me that someone still cares." In the arts, Linda broke barriers of gender and age, especially as she entered middle age, a time when many women were pushed off screens. She dared to take on bold roles and even stepped into the director's chair in an industry dominated by men. Age doesn't diminish your ability. It gives you a deeper understanding of the story you want to tell, she declared. That mindset inspired a generation of actresses to demand more than background roles and to carve out meaningful space for themselves. Linda Gray's legacy does not rest solely in Sue Ellen, the character forever etched in popular culture, but also in the way she transformed her life's tragedies into strength for others. She proved that the greatness of a star is not measured by the spotlight, but by how they use it to bring value to society. At 84, Linda Gray lives a life of freedom, peace, and meaning on her 2.5-acre ranch in Santa Clarita, California. Designed by architect A. Quincy Jones, the home, with its horse stables, tennis court, swimming pool, and lush gardens, is not only a place of retreat but also a symbol of the independence she spent her whole life fighting for. At times, Linda considered selling the property to ease the burden of upkeep, but in the end, she chose to keep it as an inseparable piece of her life's memory. Far from isolating herself, Linda maintains a strong connection with her fans through social media. With over 53,000 followers on Instagram, 48,900 on Twitter, and 58,000 on Facebook, every photo she posts, from moments in her garden to Dallas memories, becomes a fragment of her life story. Social media is my way of continuing to tell my story and of listening to the stories of others, she explained. In 2025, Linda affirmed her presence in cultural life. In June, she appeared at the Palm Springs Women in Film and Television event, where she spoke on women's rights and called for more opportunities for women in the industry. Then in August, during a special Dallas reunion, actor Josh Henderson, who had played Sue Ellen's son in the reboot, embraced her warmly and movingly, called her mother and mama. The room fell silent for a moment before erupting into applause. That moment stood as a testament. Even though Dallas ended long ago, Linda Gray remains both a spiritual anchor for her colleagues and an irreplaceable face in the memory of audiences worldwide. Her net worth today is estimated at around $12 million, a reflection of a successful career and shrewd financial management. But for Linda, the greatest wealth is not in numbers, but in the freedom and tranquility she has earned after a lifetime of storms. Today, Linda Gray no longer stands beneath the stage lights. Yet every step she takes and every story she tells still carries the weight of resilience. She proves that true happiness is not found in glamour, but in daring to live authentically and in continuously spreading goodness to the world around her. Linda Gray is not just a television star, but a living testament to the power of resilience. From a shy girl in Culver City to the anonymous model with the legs in The Graduate, to Sue Ellen, the role that haunted hundreds of millions worldwide, her journey shows that the light of a star is not born of luck, but of the strength to overcome shackles, losses, and prejudice. At every stage, Linda chose to face hardship as a lesson, daring to break free from a confining marriage, standing firm in the storm of rumors, and transforming personal tragedies into a drive to act for others. Her life proves that sometimes it is the very cracks that create the deepest beauty and the most enduring strength. Today, at 84, Linda Gray remains an emblem of freedom and rebirth. She reminds us that age, loss, or social judgment can never extinguish one's light if they dare to live truthfully. Her story is more than the tale of an actress. It is a message for anyone who has ever felt trapped. You have the right to break free, the right to be reborn, and the power to turn your life into a legacy. Perhaps the simplest way to sum up Linda Gray is this: she turned ruin into strength and lived her life as proof of rebirth. So what do you think? Could it be that life's suffocating limits are sometimes the very springboard to freedom? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe to join us on the journey of uncovering extraordinary stories where the legacy of Linda Gray and Hollywood's legends continue to live on in the hearts of fans.